You've just accessed Hardware is Forever, your source for the expert insights, ideas, and innovations you need to do more in the electronics manufacturing industry. From optimization to operations, join us as we put the pieces together for a better approach to manufacturing. Let's go.
This is Hardware is Forever. I'm Chris Bintliff, and Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech, and we have been spending many episodes on Deming's 14 points of management, and we have reached the last one, which is pretty interesting. This has been a really interesting series, and every conversation is informed by the last. And so many times as we've been talking, Jay, we say, well, I think this comes back to that. And if you remember this, and you start to see this kind of holistic nature of Deming's points, this last one is get everybody involved in achieving the transformation. So I think that's in a lot of ways, it sort of is self-evident what he means by that, but he wouldn't say it if there wasn't friction, if it wasn't something that you had to give attention to, because the default is not everybody will be involved in the transformation. So talk to me a little bit about how you perceive Deming's 14th point, and what do we start to do to get everybody involved in the transformation?
I think it's easy for us to say that these are the people that needs to change. Like, how much does shipping and receiving need to get involved in process development on my testing? Like, why do I even need to do that? Those guys just receive parts, pack it, and ship it. Like, there's no reason why they need to get involved. However, that is not the case, because they are at important touch points in the entire process, and they need to add value and share and be engaged with the change. So I think, the old way of doing it is like, hey, we'll just talk to these people. They're the ones who really do all the work, and we don't need to get those people engaged so they can focus on what they need to do on. It's just going to be a waste of time for them. And I think that is wrong. The wrong approach. I think, everybody has value they can add. Everybody has creativity that they want to share, and everybody has a special gift that they can provide and make their own worlds or the people's worlds around them better. And unless you are willing to listen to that, it really just takes the joy out of the day-to-day. And I think, there is also a level of hubris where leadership says, I don't need everybody, I can do it on my own. And that hubris has, again, we talked about it. If you're not the smartest person in the room, catastrophic things can happen. And I think that having that hubris that says, no, this is bigger than myself and will always be bigger than myself. That is why I need to get everybody's input in, and get everybody involved is good, because it will enhance everything that we do for our customer. And also, because we get everybody involved, that also de-risks the process of making poor decisions. And, you can take a look at it as a positive way, like, how is this going to make me better? But also, if you look at it, if you get everybody involved, we're also going to make a lot of less bad mistakes. So if you just work out risks and reduction of risks rather than enhancements, you're still ahead. But to do that, you need the feedback from the people who are actually working, every single person that in your organization, to make everything run better and create an environment where everybody is heard, everybody is engaged, everybody is bought in, and everybody is rowing in the same direction. Because as soon as one person is left behind, as soon as one person is not rowing the same direction, that also gives liberty to other people not to do that as well. And then you're competing, there's two competing cultures, and that just does not help the organization grow anymore, which leads to friction, which leads to workplace drama, all those type of things. So getting everybody involved is critical to achieving anything, let alone change and transformation in an organization. Whether if it's just, we want to be more efficient at shipping this widget or shipping this software platform, that's one thing. But if you're trying to achieve transformation, you got to get everybody on the same board, because they have to buy into it and they have to change their approach to their day-to-day.
How at Amtech, and as the CEO, like, it's not called Deming's 14 points of business, it's 14 points of management. And I feel like every conversation, something I notice is you do a really good job of reminding or bringing back leaders must, leaders should, leaders can. So as you kind of think about this, how how does it work where you are, or how is it working, or how do you intend for it to work? So does your executive team need to kind of get on board first, and then from there it might go down to sort of the department or section leaders, managers, or how does it, like, how do I practically start to embed these 14 points and this idea of transformation into my leadership team?
I think leadership team first needs to start with long-term thinking. I think that's one of Deming points as well. You have to keep the end in mind in long-term thinking. And unless you have long-term thinking, you don't even know what you need to change into or where you need to go. So I think leadership team thinking, having the long-term vision and long-term thinking, and then communicating that with everybody, and then creating small actionable chunks that you're continuously working on to get yourself to that point is critical. If you just say we're going to be this in 10 years, or this is our long-term thinking, but you don't break it down into your day-to-day operations and understand, okay, so for me to do this operation needs to change into this type of stuff. We need to take a look at this, and this is the way that we need to do accounting. This is where we need to do inventory management. This is how we need to schedule our production. This is how we need to recruit our employees, our team members. This is how we need to train them. This is how we need to support them. Unless there's a long-term vision and we break it down and get everybody's input and have them work on implementing those changes to get to that transformation, I don't think anything happens.
As you're talking about that, do you mean that we should be building some kind of system that we can measure? Like literally there's KPIs for this thing, like here's how we know we're doing well in the realm of transformation? Is it that kind of, whatever it is in every organization, yours will be different from somebody else's, but is it something where you should want to be able to say, are we improving, or where are we falling to the side? Or is it not that literal? Is it more subjective?
No, I think we need to know where we need to, what our long-term vision is, and then we have to create relevant measurables. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you can't manage it, you can't improve it. So we need to create relevant measurables of where we are at today to get to the measurables that we need to be at in the future. Like, we may not like Six Sigma, right? Like that is the holy grail of quality. Now, if we haven't implemented, if you don't have the infrastructure in place to get to the level of Six Sigma, then what are the foundational things that we do need to put in place, and what is the metric for that stepping stone right now? So I think we need to get relevant goals. We need to keep a long-term vision, but put relevant goals in place to get us, okay, we got this stepping stone. We measured that we got to this point. Now let's get to the next point. Now let's get to the next. It could be simple as like, we want to do Six Sigma, but we don't collect data. Let's put the data collection process in point. And how do we measure that? How do we know that data has been being collected? Well, this is the KPI that we have to be able to make sure that we're collecting the data. Now that we have the data collected, what do we do with that? What do we do with that? And then we start getting to a point where, yes, we're eventually Six Sigma.
Does this make you rethink in any way the characteristics that you're looking for in a leadership team? And I don't mean literally maybe at Amtech, but just as a leader or in general. Like, you want people who can learn and adapt, but you also want people who, just as we talked about earlier, have this curiosity where it's not hard for them to learn and adapt, or it's interesting for them to want to learn and adapt. Like, does it make you rethink what you're looking for in a leader versus, because it's really easy to say, well, this person has 30 years of experience in this, or look at the numbers, the quotas, the goals that they hit in that way. And that stuff can be really interesting, but it can ignore some of these less obvious things. How do you have a growing perspective on that?
I think you always got to get the right people with the right mindset. And mindset and culture and character trumps any skill out there. Skills can be learned, but you grow with these character. This mindset is nurtured, and we can get people who are more skilled, but are they going to create a sustainable organization? Are they going to create an organization that everyone wants to come and work for? That's a question that's a proposition that actually is questionable. I don't know. If you want long-term growth, if you want stability, you do need to get a great foundation and culture. So you need the right people with the right mindset at all levels. And, change starts again with leadership. That's why we are called leaders. So you want to have your leadership team be strong and then go through the process of transforming. And that transformation process is not going to be a smooth one. Some people will resist, some people will self-select out. Some people will, you'll have turnover to be able to get the right people in your organization that fit your culture and where you want to go long term and how you want to get there. So you do need everybody on board, because it's just not going to be a clock in, clock out. I get my hours in. It is going to be a devotion almost to be able to get to where you need to go.
Let me put you on the spot. As we're now at the end of 14 points, is there one that pops up in your head again and again, or that you feel is, I don't know, the most important to you or to Amtech, or that is really, really resonant right now and wherever you are in kind of your own sort of path or journey, or as you perceive business? Is there one that really sticks out, and why?
I think, there's a couple things. One is that it always starts with leadership. So your successes and your failures, and mostly your failures, are due to leadership. There's successes that come out, things are random. You win the lotto, you didn't really do anything to achieve that. But your failures are on leadership, and that's the universe giving you feedback that you need to change and you need to become better. So that's one thing, is that it's always my fault, and there's always room for improvement in me. And the number two thing is you have to keep the long-term vision. As excruciating as it can be, you must keep the long-term vision, because if you start compromising long-term vision and start pivoting and making things that are good on the short term, you will never get to where you need to go. And you're just going to be in this vicious loop of just thinking short term all the time. And that does not lead to stability. That does not lead to growth. That does not lead to, a great organization. It just doesn't lead to anything great. It just leads to a lot of heartache, it leads to a lot of stress, it leads to a lot of lost time. So I think those two things are really hard, because, going and having a long-term vision, that means you're changing things that you've never changed in a way to align with your long-term vision. And to see that out and allow that process, it's like I'm on a boat and I change my coordinates. Well, I know these coordinates are changed, but that small change is going to take a long time for me to see where I end up. So it's just going and changing those small things or big things, and then giving enough time to see and allow that to nurture those changes, to nurture and get you where you need to go, is really a hard thing to do for me. So, it's easy to say that I'm going to keep long-term thinking, and it's easy to say, this is the things that I need to do. But then when you actually try to go do it, and you have to let go and let it take its path, that's where I am having a challenge in that.
Interesting. And if I connect those dots, Deming's point 7 is institute leadership. And this idea of constancy is brought up in point 1, create constancy of purpose, adopt the new philosophy is point 2, and then improve constantly and forever, the system of production and service is point 5. So as ever, Jay, you've kind of helped us to see how this interrelationship creates language or thinking that we can sort of immediately apply in a broad way. Thanks for going through these 14 points with us. It's been really interesting, and it's relevant, and it's timely, and I feel like it's valuable. And I wonder now, will you continue to sort of, is this book closed for you, or is it just earmarked and you'll be continually going back to this chapter and that chapter as you learn and continue, and as Amtech continues to grow?
Yeah, I think, this is a journey, and we'll go back to this journey and implement these things. And it's a continuous improvement process. Just because you went through one cycle and one transformation doesn't mean the next transformation is not right around the corner. So these things will always be implemented. It's been, I got introduced to Deming, a while ago, and it just blew my mind. Like, why aren't we why isn't this fundamentals of manufacturing? Like, these are things that we need to, because we talk about lean, we talk about Six Sigma, we talk about Toyota production system, we talk about all these things, but Deming's name had not crossed my radar. And it's been, there's so much content on the internet. I don't know if anybody's ever going to read this or listen to this. Like, I don't even know, but really, I don't really care, because this is what I've grown as an individual and as a leader because of it. So, It's been an awesome process. It's been an awesome journey. It's been an awesome learning process. If somebody takes something out of this, great. If not, then thank you, Dr. Deming.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers and followers. Consider becoming one today wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Hardware is Forever is designed, tested, engineered, and built by the manufacturing experts at Amtech. Learn more and let us help you envision your next project with a free Design for Manufacturing assessment at buildamtech.com/DFM.